I did not see this coming. We got Mark Andrews news a day earlier than we thought, according to Jeff Zrebiec. And then we also signed a backup quarterback today. So let's get into it.
Ravens flock. The flock rundown is the place to be.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense, can't tame the untamed.
What's up, Ravens fans? I haven't played the intro in a while, but I don't know. Just felt like doing it today. But how are you guys doing? My name is Ryan. Welcome back to another episode of the Flock Rundown. We'll start with our new backup quarterback, and that is Cooper Rush from the Dallas Cowboys. At first, when I first saw this news, I saw the number 2-year, $12 million. That's what was like first put out there, and I was like, you got to be kidding me, man. Like, we're using our cap on this, but when you really know what the numbers are, it's a 2-year, $6.2 million deal, up to 12, which is basically if he has to start X amount of games. I don't know what the details are, but if he ends up starting a chunk of the season, if Lamar's down, then he can make up to 12. But if Lamar's healthy, which, you know, we're praying to God that Lamar stays healthy because I think we're screwed. If Lamar's not playing, I don't really care who the backup quarterback is. We're not in a good shape. So most likely it's 2 years, $6.2 million. 3.1 per season and 4.2 million guaranteed. So it's not a crazy deal. That's a lot more reasonable than 12 million. I was a little worried at first. It's the best backup quarterback we've had since Joe Flacco backed up Lamar in his rookie year. I mean, I don't think that we've had a better backup than Cooper Rush. Cooper Rush just got a lot of starting experience, not only last year, but has had starting experience before for the Cowboys. Has done pretty well. And, you know, it's good to have a good arm behind Lamar. I think we could probably win a few more games with a Cooper Rush than we would have a Josh Johnson. But at the end of the day, let's be real. Are we winning a Super Bowl with anyone but Lamar Jackson? In my opinion, no. So the backup quarterback, to me, never really moves the needle, but I do feel good that we have upgraded the backup quarterback position. I mean, Josh Johnson is not as good as Cooper Rush is right now. I think Cooper Rush is even above Tyler Huntley just because of what he can do in the passing game. You know, Tyler Huntley was great on the ground as well, not Lamar Jackson, but can make some things happen on the ground, but has limitations through the air and reading defenses and going through progressions. And you even saw that on the Dolphins when he got a chance last year. So I think Cooper Rush has that experience to lead an offense if needed. And I know we would probably win a few more games, so it is an upgrade over who we had. But like I said, I mean, I don't think Cooper Rush is taking us to the Super Bowl. So we need Lamar Jackson, but welcome Cooper Rush to Baltimore. I think it's an interesting signing. Definitely one that I was not expecting. I did not see a Cooper Rush signing for the Baltimore Ravens. It's kind of a weird backup quarterback, something we're not used to. Usually we have a run first, or at least a quarterback who can do some damage on the ground with his legs. But a Cooper Rush is going to do the most damage with his arm and through the air. And I think that's a nod to Lamar Jackson and how sophisticated this pass game was last year. You know, Todd Monken came in and our pass game went to another level. Lamar Jackson took our pass game to another level. He has never passed the ball better than he did last year. He's never read the field better than he did last year. And I think finally the Ravens are like, all right, we don't really need a running backup quarterback. You know, we can have a passer. And Lamar Jackson is way better than Cooper Rush, but at least Cooper Rush can still continue to push the ball downfield through the air if needed. Like I said, I think we're screwed if we have to go to the backup quarterback, but it is nice to have an upgrade at backup quarterback, and it's not an insanely expensive deal. We still are very tight against the cap. You know, even this $3 million per year is not cheap for how much money we have right now, but it's a lot cheaper than that $12 million that was initially reported. That's the max he can make. So I've seen a lot of fans out there being like, why did we pay Cooper Rush more than DeAndre Hopkins? Why is Cooper Rush making $6 million a year? He's not. He's only making that if he has to start a lot of the season. So I wouldn't worry about the contract too much. This does take a shot to Devin Leary's chances at backup quarterback and his progression on the team. It looks like he's probably going to be our emergency quarterback again, the practice squad quarterback. I don't see Devin Leary really getting that shot because Cooper Rush has so much starting experience, and we are paying him $3 million a season at least. So I definitely think this makes Cooper Rush for sure the immediate backup to Lamar Jackson. Devin Leary is going to get bumped down to number 3. Now let's move on to this Mark Andrews news that we have all been waiting for. We originally thought, including me and everyone that I've seen, thought that it was going to be a Monday decision tomorrow, but it is the 5th day of the new league year is when that roster bonus is triggered. And according to Jeff Zrebiec, that was between yesterday, Saturday at 4 p.m. to today, Sunday at 4 p.m. So that was the 5th day window, and that window has obviously passed. So the Ravens have decided to pick up Mark Andrews' $4 million roster bonus, which pretty much ensures, in my opinion, I mean, I guess you never know, but I would say there's like less than a 1% chance that Mark Andrews is moved at this point. You wouldn't let that roster bonus trigger. You wouldn't pay him $4 million if you didn't plan on having him on the team this year. And there were some fans asking Jeff Zrebiec on X his opinion of what draft pick would have got it done, or if there's still a chance we trade him. And somebody said, give me a 4th rounder and we're rolling. And Jeff Zrebiec said, could be wrong, but I'd be surprised if that got it done. And Jeff went on to say it would take a legit offer, as I wrote. I'd be a little surprised if they would be willing to move on for a day 3 draft pick. I think it's going to take a day 2 pick, which would be a 2nd or 3rd rounder. And I have no idea if they'll get that offer. So it seems like the Ravens did shop him around, definitely listened to offers, but wanted a 2nd or 3rd rounder and probably didn't get anything close. We were talking about this for the last few weeks. I think it would be very, very tough for another team to give up a 2nd or 3rd round pick and pay him $17 million this year and most likely give him an extension and commit to a 30-plus-year-old tight end. I mean, that's a hell of a commitment to trade a day 2 draft pick and commit that much financially. So I don't think the Ravens got an offer they wanted. They're not going to trade him for nothing. They're probably hanging up the phone or a 5th or 6th rounder. So unless any new information comes out about, the 5th day being a business day and not on the weekend, because it is weird. I think that's where the confusion was, is that the 5th day of the new league year fell on a weekend. So a lot of people thought that was just going to take place on Monday, but I don't think that the 5th day means business days. So I think it is on the weekend. And that window was between Saturday and today. And that went and passed. And the Ravens still have Mark Andrews and picked up that $4 million bonus. So Mark's going to be here this year. I don't see it any other way. And now we got to start thinking about that and how that looks. Is Isaiah likely going to play a lot more than Mark? I would like to think so. I think we could still use Mark in the red zone. I think Mark can still help us out. We're probably paying him way too much. I mean, $17 million cap hit, $4 million roster bonus is too much for the production that he's going to give us most likely. And I still think that we should restructure that deal if possible. I think that we can clear a lot more cap room and kind of do what we did with Marlon Humphrey. I know that does include void years, so maybe they're trying to chill out with the void years. We've been very aggressive with the void years, and there's a chance that we don't want to keep going that aggressive. But I would love to, especially if we're moving on from Mark, I would love to restructure that deal and clear a ton of cap room and go make some more moves, man. It doesn't have to be a huge splash. There's not a lot of big names out there in free agency, but we can still add depth to this roster before the draft, and you never know who's going to get released. It's always nice to have that flexibility for someone who gets cut that's unexpected, because there's a long way until this season starts. There's going to be some very quality starters that are released, and the Ravens are notorious for going after guys that are released who don't count against the comp pick formula so that they can keep their comp picks. That's another thing that people were worried about with the Cooper Rush deal. They thought it was going to be too big to counteract one of our comp picks from one of the free agents we lost, but it's just under, that 3.1 million per year is just under that level. So Cooper Rush should not eliminate one of our comp picks that we're getting for any of our free agents that left, like McCary, Brandon Stevens, Malik Harrison, etc. So I think the Ravens still are sitting good with a max amount of comp picks next year. and it looks like they're keeping Mark Andrews. So this is somewhat surprising news. I guess I'm not surprised that we didn't trade him. You know, I did also think, I didn't think we were looking for a second or third, but I definitely knew the Ravens weren't just going to give him away. I definitely thought a 5th or 6th rounder probably wasn't going to get it done. But I am surprised that we haven't restructured or done anything else, and maybe that's still coming. You know, that could be right around the corner. We don't know. I'll keep you guys updated. We'll keep talking about it. But as of now, Mark's one of the most highest paid players on our team, and I don't really want Isaiah Likely to be suppressed in this offense again this year. I think Isaiah Likely is rising quickly and is not getting enough opportunity, to be honest with you. And it's really not a slight at Mark. Mark does bring value. I've always said this. I think people are very hard on Mark Andrews. And is he overpaid right now? Yes, I do think he's probably taking up too much of our cap for the role that he's going to play on our team this year. I do agree with that, but it's not like Mark sucks. You know, maybe the playoff narrative, I could hear that. He hasn't shown up in huge moments. He hasn't scored in the playoffs. I understand that. But Mark does bring value to our team. I mean, Mark had 11 touchdowns for us last year. He's not a scrub. So I'd like to clear some of that cap, lower the cap hit, and then give Isaiah Likely a bigger role, but still have Mark there. I mean, that to me makes the most sense. If we're keeping Mark, just let Isaiah Likely be more involved in this offense on a week-to-week basis. I think Isaiah Likely is the one going to be here long-term. Mark Andrews, we're definitely probably moving on after this season. So I'd love to see Likely have more of a predominant role in this offense. I'd like to see us extend Likely and lower Mark Andrews' cap hit by a restructure and also lower his playing time a little bit. But he's still going to help the Ravens this year. You know, the Ravens with Isaiah Likely and Mark Andrews are better. Would you rather have Charlie Kolar in Mark Andrews' role? I'm going to take Mark Andrews right now. He's more proven. You know, he's probably pissed off and motivated right now after how we just went out and how he played in that Buffalo game. So I would imagine we're getting a pissed off, very determined Mark Andrews this season. That is going to help our team. That's better than Charlie Kolar being our number 2 tight end. And Charlie's still going to play a ton too. I love Charlie. You know, he's a great blocker for us too. He can help in the receiving game. He's getting better in the receiving game. And maybe Isaiah Likely and Charlie Kolar end up being the duo next season. But for now, as it stands today, with picking up that roster bonus, I highly doubt they trade Mark Andrews. Unless we get news tomorrow, Jeff Zrebiec says, hey, I made a mistake announcing that the 5th year actually is Monday and something happens tomorrow, then we'll be back on here talking about it. But I highly doubt Jeff Zrebiec's going to put out that and really be talking about it on X if the Ravens didn't actually pick up Mark Andrews' bonus. So I think, and it makes sense, the 5th day of the new league year was Saturday to Sunday. So, I mean, it does make sense. It seems like the Ravens have picked up that bonus. Mark Andrews is going to be a Baltimore Raven this year. So let me know where your guys' head's at. How are you reacting to this news? Drop it in the comments. Appreciate you guys, as always, for tuning in to another episode of the Flock Rundown. Have a beautiful rest of your night or day if you're watching this in the morning. And I'll let the greatest linebacker in the history of the game take us out.
Ravens Flock. The Flock Rundown is the place to be. My man Ryan has been a lifelong Ravens fan since he was born. The Flock Rundown. Nothing gets better than waking up and wondering how high we can fly. Tune in.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense, can't tame the untamed.